Before we dive into today's incredible episode, let's take a moment together. There is nothing better than settling in, maybe with a cup of tea, just like in our African tradition, to soak in stories that inspire and empower. So grab your favorite drink and fasten your seatbelts and get ready for an unforgettable conversation with our guest today. And here's the thing. Here at Raw, we cannot do this without you. By clicking subscribe, not only are you joining a community, not only are you subscribing to a channel, but you are becoming a key part of a movement that's reshaping the global narrative about African excellence. We are on a mission to inspire 100,000 passionate individuals that believe in the power of African innovation, culture, and leadership. And guess what? You can help us get there by spending only 2 seconds of your time. 1. Subscribe. 2. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to take it a step further, visit our website and consider partnering with us. Your support fuels our journey and empowers the next generation of leaders. Together, we are changing the world. Let's roar. The Bwiti tradition in Gabon conducts initiation ceremonies where participants consume Iboga, a powerful psychedelic plant to induce spiritual experiences and connect with ancestral spirits. The ceremony involves chanting, dancing, and guided introspection. The aim is to lead initiates on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual enlightenment. As the founder of Bwiti Roots, our guest today works to preserve Bwiti culture, revive indigenous villages, and protect Iboga through sustainable practices. Welcome, Audrey Braddock Njogo.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
First things first, I hear you use this word a lot at the end of or when you're signing out on some videos. What does Basa mean?
Base means the truth. So we use it in the same way you would say amen. So when we say something and it resonates with the vibration of truth, that's why we say base. So if you agree with something I'm saying and it resonates with you on a heart level, then you would say base. And yeah, truth is the best translation for it.
Like, in our African traditions, our names have meanings to them. What does your name Jogo mean, or does it have a story to it?
So my name Braddock Njogo is my what we call an combo, and an combo is your Bwiti name, and a Bwiti name is a name that you get when you get initiated. So when you're in the spirit world, when you've eaten the plant Iboga, the plant spirit Iboga, and you go to the spirit world, you will then get your name. And then the Nima, who's the Bwiti healer, will help you understand what that name is. So my name, Bratok Njogo, was the name I was given during my first initiation. And it means evil spirit hunter. So that's when I was given the keys to become also a Nima. So that's when I was told that this was my path, that a Nima is a Bwiti healer. So that's when I was told that was my path. And basically, what I do is I help people get rid of these evil energies or these negative energies, entity attachments, and so on. So that's part of my role as a I call myself a Ganga, but you could also say a Nima, which is a Bwiti healer.
Mm.
And I've got another Nkombo, which is now Kumo Njogo. And this was in my most recent initiation. You don't get Nkomo every initiation you do, but sometimes you do. And also they also related to the spirit that accompany you. So we all have, any Bwiti healer, any worker that works in Bwiti has a spirit team. For me, it's my ancestors, because I've got a lineage. So my whole lineage is Bwiti. So I've got my ancestors. Sometimes you may have other spirits that will help you and follow you. So Kumo Njogo is a spirit that came to me in my latest initiation, because it's a spirit of abundance, because it's a spirit that's with me to help me, with Bwiti Roots and our project, So it's a spirit that's coming to give us good luck to do good things in Gabon and with our projects and try and help the community and family back in Gabon.
And you were born in France to a Gabonese mom from
That's
the
right.
Bwiti Fang lineage and a French dad. What led
Yes.
you want to connect back to your Gabonese traditions?
So it's been a very long journey. My father met my mother in Gabon in the 70s and they fell in love and decided to move back to Gabon. My mother used to be a Nima as well. So she was a Bwiti healer and that was her tradition. But she made the decision for love to move to France and she didn't carry on with her path as a Bwiti healer. Then they had me in France and she then passed away when I was 11, 12. And my way of grieving at the time was to sort of reject my Gabonese roots, That was my you can't explain death, losing a mother and the way that you handle these things, So my way was to say I was French, I was not Gabonese. And I never went to Gabon for quite a long time. But my mother, when she died, her last wish was to be buried in Gabon, in her village, in a native village. So my father had to make the long journey to go back to Gabon and take her there to fulfill a last wish. And I never understood why, because I thought, why is she getting buried so far away from me? I've never seen a grave. I never saw a grave for so long. And her village is deep in the forest. It's not even in the city, So my dad had to really, really go on a long in the forest. The roads are terrible. And her village at the time it almost died. Her village used to be a thriving village. But when she went to get buried there was only one person, one family living there. And it was all overgrown everywhere because Gabonese people want to go back to the cities, and they're living the old traditional way of life. So she got buried there. And from there, her family, because my mother was the head of the family, she was very respected figure in the village. She was like the mother of all her brothers, sisters, and also because she was a healer, a very powerful healer, she was very respected. So when people saw that she decided to go back to the village to get buried, people slowly started moving back because they saw this as such an important thing that she did, So the family started moving back, clearing the land slowly, putting new houses and things like that around the village. And the village started reviving. Meanwhile, I was just growing up in Europe and Africa. I also lived in Africa with my father. But still, I was not interested in my Gabonese root. But, when you know about the spirit world, my spirit started to come to get me, And many things started happening to me, which cannot be explained, that were calling me to find out about who I was. Spirit encounters, messages coming through to me and things that were happening to me. Like in Gabon, we go in trances during ceremonies where spirits come inside of us. And maybe to take us out of a situation or during ceremonies. And then our own spirit goes out and then a new spirit, ancestor spirit will come in. And that's why sometimes you see people dancing in very like shaking way and things like that. This kind of stuff started happening to me and it was scaring me because I didn't understand what was going on. But my mom, same thing would happen to her. And my dad explained to me, yeah, this is your heritage. This is where you come from, And little by little, I started getting very interested about why are all these things happening to me. And I had this intensely strong calling to go to Gabon and see my mom's grave, but also find out about who I was. Why are these things that I don't understand happening to me? What is this tradition, Bwiti? What is this all about? And I remember my mother being a Nima as well, doing things in the house that were like helping people, also going in trances, doing things like mediumships and things like that. So I remembered that and I thought, okay, maybe there's something that is deeper, that's going through my genes that I need to find out. And that's when I went to Gabon. And when I went to her village, I went straight to her village. I saw her grave for the first time. And on her grave, there's Iboga all around it, growing. The whole village, my family village, there's Iboga everywhere. We have a Bwiti temple. And my aunt at the time was then running the temple. So my aunt took over what my mother's job should have been. So my aunt was doing initiation ceremonies. upkeep of the temple, sacred objects, and so on. And when I arrived in the village, my family were not surprised by anything I told them. For me, it was a big mystery what was going on in my life, why all these things. But when I got there, they knew I was gonna come. They knew that at some point I would be there and
Really?
to follow the lineage. So as soon as I got there, my aunt initiated me a few steps away from my mother's grave with Iboga growing on my family's land. So it was a really beautiful experience. And during the initiation, I learned about who I was. And I was given the next steps to change my life and follow my path, like my lineage and my family's
And how
tradition.
did this lead to Bwiti Roots, your
So
organization?
during the initiation, this is what I was told to do. So I had to make a promise before I left. I mean, Iboga works in some incredible ways. It's something that is very difficult to explain, but it's miraculous. It's really miraculous. It's something.
That's why I had to have this conversation with you and for our viewers to learn a bit.
Yes, it's a plant. It can change the world. It can change people's lives in such a way. If there's a purpose that you're supposed to be doing in this life, it will put you on it. But during my initiation, it made me make a promise. At the end of it made me promise to everyone in the village that I would do something to help them, but I didn't know what. It was a very hard promise for me to make because my word means something. If I give my word, I will always uphold it. So I felt everyone was asking me to help them in a way, but it was visions I was having. It was Iboga making me do these promises. It's very difficult to explain it, but I just knew I had to do something and help. I just didn't know what. And I made this promise. I made this pact with my family and with God. And I made this pact and I said, yeah, okay, I'll help. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to help. And then once I made this promise, then I started getting information flowing through about what I should do. And the first thing was to set up a non-profit and the answers would come. So that's what we did. We set up a non-profit trying to fundraise, and we didn't know at first how to get money. And then eventually we just realized we can do ceremonies because I've been given permission to offer this medicine and hold ceremonies. And I've been given the training as well. So we started doing ceremonies and we found that's a great way to fundraise because everybody wins who can come and get healed and helped with the medicine. But then also the money we earn from it, then we can also send it back to Gabon and invest it in projects and help the community there. And so it's just been, as soon as we started doing this, it was divinely guided because it just took off straight away. So yeah.
And how does your French dad feel about you practicing your Bwiti traditions?
He's so happy. He's so happy. He's so happy that because he knows how important this culture is and he knows how much my mother had to left it. My mother didn't follow her path.
The
And then
sacrifice.
I took over something she didn't. And I realized that she got buried. She was very connected to spirits. And when she decided to get buried in Gabon, there were so many things that happened with this. She really planted a seed by planting herself in her village because it really brought attention to that way of life. It made me go to find out about who I was because I always wondered, why is my mom, even though I rejected my Gabonese roots at first, I always had this nagging feeling, why has my mother chosen to go get buried so far away from me? So that's what kept me, because I could have just pushed away completely the Gabonese roots, but her choice to get buried there, it always stayed with me. Why? And that made me go there, and then now I'm doing this work. So, but that's
It
how
made a
Bwiti
really
works.
lasting impression on you, and it
Yeah.
really changed the path of your life.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Completely,
So I'd
completely.
like to delve a bit more into the Bwiti tradition, just for our viewers to be able to understand it. What are the origins of this tradition? So some say it's the inhabitants of the equatorial African forest are the ones who introduced Gabon to this tradition.
So this tradition comes from Gabon, the Congo Basin region. And it's so old. It's so old. There is no accurate, I mean, nobody knows how old it is. You know, it is at least hundreds of years, thousands, many believe thousands of years. Some researchers have said that it even predates all religions, and it could be even the source of all religions, because we all come from Africa. So there is nobody knows, but Iboga only grows in that tiny little region of the world. It doesn't grow. People are doing
Really?
plantations now. They're trying to do plantations, but before they were taking it out of Gabon. So it's like the Congo basin. So that's Cameroon, Gabon, and Congo, but it's mostly Gabon. It's just the borders, the borders. There's a little bit of Iboga in Congo and Cameroon, but mostly Gabon. And Gabon is a tiny little country. And for some reason, that's the only place that it grows. It doesn't grow anywhere else. So it comes from there. We know it comes from there, but it's evolved. Bwiti is a tradition that moves. It grows like a tree. And each person that practices it will, they'll practice the ways of their lineage, but they may learn some new songs or practices when they themselves get initiated. So it grows and evolves, but it comes from that region, and nobody can explain. Nobody knows why. Nobody can explain why, but for some reason, God chose the Bwiti people to be the guardians of this plant and this tradition.
As the migration of the original Ekang Fang people concluded in the heart of the Congo Basin forest, they finally found the promised land, guided by their God. In gratitude, they sought to uphold good morals by establishing laws that would govern the community. They invoked the genies, spirits, and gods of the forest. Then they called upon Ngi, the god of vengeance and justice, tasked with initiating members of the secret society of Ngi. The various masks of Ngi, spread across the territories, were imbued with his power. Those who wore them were possessed by the god Ngi, as they had the ability to see the guilty through his eyes and pursued those who violated the laws of nature. They punished thieves, sorcerers, and those who killed community members. For centuries, the secret society of Ngi was feared for enforcing order in each of the clan's nation and camp. At the beginning of the 20th century, French colonialists arrived. A battle against the Germans had led them deep into the territory and camps at the border between Cameroon and Gabon. However, pillaging was also part of their journey. They sought the hidden treasures of the Ngi people, intending to use their power to win battles. Not far from the village of Mimbang, where a monument now stands in memory of this battle, some traitors, at odds with the order maintained by the secret society's members, informed the colonialists about a collection of masks endowed with supernatural powers that could fight for them. They then began to hunt down and kill every member of the Ngi secret society they could find. Interested in the potentially invaluable worth of this mass collection, they managed to steal a third of it, winning the battle through the power of Ngi and taking the rest of the items to the west.
A carved mask from Central Africa dating from the 19th century was sold for 4.2 million euros or $4.6 million at a Paris auction. The rare wooden guil mask used in ceremonies by the Fang ethnic people of Gabon smashed its estimate of 300,000 to 400,000 euros at the auction in the southern French city of Montpellier. However, during the auction, protests erupted by some Gabonese people demanding the mask's restitution to its country of origin.
And I think that's why it's very important to capture this knowledge from someone like you and really put it on record, as well as to, keep it shared, just because it's like you said, it's not easy to trace history of some of these traditions. So I think that's why I knew I wanted to have you here on this channel.
Yeah, it's an oral tradition, meaning that it's only recently that you find research studies done on it, and mostly by Westerners, who have respect for the tradition, find it very interesting and are trying to do research, but it's all based on oral, anecdotal. So there is it's passed down from generation to generation, and I believe it's passed down through genetics as well. And that's why lineage is so important. And this is why, for example, even though I pushed my Gabonese side and I had no connection to Gabon, there was something
Caught
in
up
me.
with you.
Exactly, something in me that was calling me, remind me. So now that I'm doing this work, it's almost like I remember it. It's not even like my aunt teaches me, because obviously you have to be taught, but a lot of it is remembrance. So it's in me already. And that's why this work is always done with lineage, and it gets passed down and passed down. We don't write it down. And also it's a way to protect it, because only the people who have a true connection to the lineage can really practice it in the right way. And there's many imposters and many people who try and come and pay a lot of money to learn about it and things like that, but that's not the true ways. It has to be done through the lineage.
So there is a right way to do it. There's a right way to practice the tradition.
Yes.
And that's what I really want to be able to capture and delve into. So is Bwiti considered a religion? Is it considered a way of life?
We say it's a way of life, it's a tradition. So it's not even a religion. It's because within Bwiti there is many branches, and each branch practices Bwiti in their own way. And then within those branches, there's sub branches. Each sub branches practices Bwiti in their own way. And even within the sub branches, there's then villages and families. And each of them also have their own way of holding ceremonies and healing people and working with the plants. So it's not it's not a religion. It's not a tribe. It's a tradition, Bwiti is more like the umbrella concept of it. But yeah, we see it like a way of life and a tradition. That's the best way that you can.
Best way to, it's the Bwiti tradition.
Yes, it's the Bwiti tradition. Definitely not a tribe. A lot of people say it's a tribe, but it's not. It's not a tribe. There's many different tribes in Gabon, and the tribes have nothing to do with the. Well, it's not a tribe. It's a tradition and a way of life.
And what are the core teachings of this tradition? How does it shape the lives of its practitioners?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
What are the core beliefs in the Bwiti tradition, and how does it shape the lives of the practitioners?
So Bwiti is an animist tradition. So animism is a shamanic culture, all shamanic cultures are animist cultures. And for us, we see everything as spiritual. So everything happens in the spirit world, and then it manifests in this 3D reality, physical world, So all our work is done in the spirit world, and we see everything as having a spirit. So everything like, object, animals, plants, even some rocks is a spirit as well, will have a spirit, And then once you enter the spirit world, you can see that, you can see that everything around you is spirit, and everything happens in the spirit world. And then your 3D physical life can be okay. So if you're not in good terms with the spirit world, this is where things start being in misalignment and going wrong in your life. So most people don't realize this. So they're living very sick lives. They unwell, they mentally unwell, depressed, things are going wrong in their lives, their relationships are wrong, and no, it's because they're not paying attention to the spirit world. So this is why we do so many ceremonies, because when we do ceremonies, that's where we connect with our ancestors, with the spirit world, and then we can include them and ask them for help. All our spirits, our ancestors, because they're there, they're always around us. The spirit, the plant spirits, even the spirit of Iboga can help if you just ask it for help. But there is a way to do it in a respectful way, and that's through ceremony. So that's
When you say animism, you mean that there is a spirit in everything. That's what it means.
Yes, animism is like it's also like it's a tradition where you see spirit in everything.
So you mentioned this a bit, that there are different branches of the tradition of Bwiti. How do the practices differ? Maybe you can mention a few.
So I'm familiar with my tradition is Feng. And then my sub branch is Djembe Kongi. So this is the one that we practice and that I know. So the other branches I know from just speaking to people and reading about it, but I don't know personally. I've not been initiated in any other, so I can't speak in a as a knowledgeable person on these traditions, but I can give you some brief differences. So the main ones are Feng, which is my branch, Mitsoko, Disumba. So these you would say are the main three branches, and Disumba and Mitsoko are very masculine, and then they have sub branches that are feminine. So in Feng, for example, we mix men and women together during ceremony. There's no separation. They will do the same rites. They will be initiated together and go through the same processes. In Mitsoko, for example, the men, women are separated and they each do their own rites, and there's different things that they have to do. Disumba is the oldest branch. Well, there's again debate because it's oral, So some will say Disumba is the oldest, but then some say Mitsoko is older, and then But from what I understand, and the general agreement is that Disumba is older, and then from Disumba came out Mitsoko, and then came out Feng, etc., and all the sub branches. And Mitsoko, Feng is like one of the main difference between Feng and Mitsoko, for example, is Feng is about receiving. So when you get initiated in the Feng tradition, there isn't so much doing. So you will be an initiation. There will be a lot of taking plants and getting cleansed spiritually, mentally with plants, plant medicine, different drinks made out of plant and things you have to rub on your body and this is all to cleanse you to be able to eat the iboga and be as clean as possible to enter the spirit world. And during the initiation, you're just laying down there because you'll be given a big dose of iboga where you can't really do anything. You just lay there. Sometimes your spirit goes to the spirit world and you can't even use your body. Mitsoko, on the other hand, is more about doing. During initiations, they will be made to do many things. The initiates will have to stand up and do certain things, and it's more of a mind training. It's like more of a warrior to get men to become strong and be able to control their mind, etc. So there's many things they have to do. So it's about doing. As in Fang is more about receiving, connecting with the spirits, and receiving that wisdom, knowledge, or whatever that you're getting initiated for. Disumba and Mitsoko are more. Some people say they're more authentic because they kept the traditional ways more. All of the branches are also authentic. They doing it traditionally, but what happened is when the missionaries came to Gabon to convert everyone
to Christianity,
they were trying to turn people away from Bwiti, because they saw it as witchcraft and not good. And so many people in Gabon see what we do as witchcraft. And, so many people, because they have been conditioned to think that, but many Bwiti temples resisted. So the Mitsoko completely cut away. Mitsoko, Disumba, those branches completely cut away, managed to continue on practicing Bwiti by staying away as much as possible from the missionaries. And then us, the Feng, we came from the Disumba, but what we did is a way to adapt to the pressures from the missionaries. What we did is we adopted some elements of Christianity. So in our branch, you will see some elements of Christianity. So it's not a religious thing, but you may see like in the clothes, there may be crosses and things like that. And then we'll pray to some Christian deities like some of the angels or Jesus Christ, Mother Mary, etc. But the way I see it is there's truth in every religion, in every spirituality. And what we did is, instead of just pushing that away, we saw, okay, what is the truth in this? Because it is, the way we see it is for us, Jesus Christ, Mother Mary is just like our ancestors, they're just like ancestors, they're spirits as well that can help you and guide you, So why reject that just because it comes from a missionary? So we adapted to those pressures by adopting some of this. So that for us, that was a way to adapt and to resist to them wiping our culture. And so, but some people say that makes us a bit less authentic, but I disagree. It's just evolution. Everything evolves.
Nimana komori ganga wanye hey bokaye. Today I will address a topic with many unanswered questions, and that is the different Bwiti branches. In Bwiti, we use the metaphor of the tree, etete, and its branches, mitabe, to explain our structure. The main trunk is Bwiti Disumba, from which all of the different branches and sub-branches grow. Main characteristics of Disumba are: 1, it's strictly reserved for men. Number 2, it has a strong focus on ancestor worship. And number 3, it relies on oral traditions to recount the genesis from the creation of the world to humanity today. Disumba evolved into many branches, including Bwiti Iboga, associated with resistance against colonization, and Bwiti Mitsoko, which focuses on healing and consultation. Most people have heard about Mitsoko because it's the only Bwiti branch that was exported to the West. The main characteristics of Mitsoko are the use of pharmacopoeia, number 1, it's anti-sorcery focus, number 2, and number 3, it's initially for men, but it's now become more inclusive of women. Some of the sub-branches of Mitsoko include Myobe, Ngonde, and Sengedia. Although not specifically a branch, the Babongo pygmies and their rites are often mentioned. It is even said amongst Bwiti initiates that the Babongos are the originators of Bwiti, though this is debated within the Bwiti community. Another important branch from Disumba is Bwiti Fang, Mimweri, and that's my branch. Fang is a syncretic branch blending elements of Bieri, Disumba, and Christianity. Bieri, that I just mentioned, which is the basis of Bwiti Fang, is an ancient spiritual practice based on ancestor worship and also using the hallucinogenic plant Elan, not Iboga, for initiations. The main characteristics of Bwiti Fang are: 1, syncretic practices; number 2, possession rituals where healers enter trance states, allowing ancestors and spirits to possess us and assist in healing; and number 3, gender inclusivity. Sub-branches of Fang include Ndea Narizenga, Ekongi, Njebe, and Ndea Kenga, amongst many others. There are many other branches and sub-branches within the Bwiti tradition. If you want to find out more, head over to our latest blog, and the link is in the bio. Basse basse.
That's very enlightening, actually. So can someone practice, for example, Bwiti Fang and Bwiti Mitsoko?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, many people get initiated in different branches. You can go from one branch to the next if that's your calling. For me, I have not had this calling, so I felt called to just follow my tradition, the tradition of my family. So maybe in the future, I will meet someone, Mitsoko or Disumba, and feel, like I want to get initiated with them, but this hasn't happened yet. But yeah, people can get initiated into different branches.
So I'd like to talk about this aspect of the rituals and the ceremonies because it's very central to the Bwiti tradition. And what motivates someone to seek Bwiti initiation with Iboga?
There can be many reasons. One can be like a strong calling, because we say Iboga will call people. So if someone even knows what Iboga is, then already that is a sign that there is some sort of a calling, because probably 99% of the world has no idea what Iboga is. So if you're part of the 1% that knows even what Iboga is, so that already means there's some sort of a calling there. And then some people feel a strong pull to get initiated in Africa because there's many people who are doing ceremonies outside of Gabon, but some people will feel they need to go to the motherland to know where it comes from and get the real initiation. So that's a strong calling. Then in Gabon, people get initiated for that as well. It's a rite of passage. When they reach a certain age, then they have to go through initiation if they've been raised in the Bwiti village or family. But also, initiation gets done if someone is sick. So if someone is unwell, it could be spiritually unwell, if there's maybe entity attachment, this person has, demonic attachments and things like that. The only way you can get those ties cut is through initiation, or even physical illness. So sometimes people get initiated because they have some sort of illness. And like I said, we see everything as spiritual. So all illnesses come from something is not right in the spirit world, So if they try and go hospital and things like this and nothing works, then they might go to the village and get initiated.
Et est-ce que n'importe qui peut s'initier?
Oui, n'importe qui.
N'importe qui.
L'Iboga, c'est universel. C'est universel, n'importe qui. C'est pas n'importe qui. Tout ce que Dieu a créé comme homme se fait initier. C'est ça. C'est pas interdit.
Et même
celui-là ne prie pas. N'importe qui, c'est universel.
Et même le chien, parce que tu as initié le chien.
Oui. Même le chat. J'ai fait initier le chat.
Tu as donné l'Iboga au chat?
Oui.
Waouh.
Le chat qui est à la maison s'appelle la reine de la forêt.
C'est son combo. Waouh. Super, super.
Rock son combo, c'est le chien qui aboie. Et le combattant. Quand il y a la veillée, on lui donne le bois.
Waouh. Et il mange ça bien.
Il mange ça bien. Et c'est là où tu lui bois. Si un sorcier rentre dans le temple, tu sais déjà que ça, c'est un mauvais.
Bien, ça c'est bien ça.
It's interesting with the Bwiti tradition because I seem to observe from my research that it seems to be if there is some kind of suffering, then people seek some kind of remedy with Iboga. But I find with Bwiti there is really a whole concept, and I think that was very enlightening as well to know that if you're born within the tradition, then there is a point where you're initiated, or it's a whole concept. So that's very interesting because initially I associated it with suffering as a remedy of people who are having struggles or something like that. Maybe who are not part of the tradition normally.
Yeah, it's all of it, like you said as well. Yeah, it can be with some if there's suffering in someone's life. You can't.
I have read somewhere, I think something to do with women who are having struggles to have children, or having struggles with their children. Maybe the children are not so behaving so well. Did I get that right?
All of it. Yeah, everything, anything. So it can be for all of that. If there's something is not flowing in your life, then initiation in Gabon, that you would consider getting initiated. Because when you go into the spirit world, you will get some answers. The spirits will tell you what you're not doing right and what you need to change in your life. And then if you follow the guidance, then most of the time things, get fixed for you. But you have to follow the guidance and always be in right, have a right relationship with your spirits,
Conscience, maybe is what I thought.
Pardon?
Conscience?
Yeah, have a good relationship with your spirits, with the spirits that are guiding you and help you and so on.
And how should a person prepare mentally or physically before embarking on this journey?
Yeah, the cleaner you are, the better the medicine will work. But for an initiation, you don't even need to do much, because before you need to know what you're signing up for one. Because if you get initiated, you're going to the village, and in the village there's no running water. We've got a generator that's on a few hours every night, but it's in the forest. It's not a fancy retreat or anything. So you have to know what you're signing up for. For one, know that it's not an easy experience, and it's not for the culturally sensitive people. And once you're doing the initiation, we spend the ones we do so we open our village a few times a year, just a couple times a year or 4 times a year, to foreigners who want to get a calling to get initiated, because the rest of the year we just initiate and treat Gabonese people. We don't want it to be diluted or turned into a commercial venture, so, but a lot of people have asked us, so we open our village a few times a year. And the initiations we do 1 week, but normally because people, they're traveling from far, and you can do it in a week, that's fine. But normally some Gabonese people will come for months and stay in the getting initiated. And for that, for maybe like a whole month, someone will just be cleansing their body, their mind, their spirit. So that is the preparation. So they'll spend, and the foreigners that come, so for 5 days, they will be also drinking plants. Everything is taken away from you. So you can't be on your phone, you can't be watching TV, all of these things. So it's all cleansing your mind, your spirit. You're just in meditation and drinking plants, plant medicines. And that's all preparing you for the Iboga, So when you eat the Iboga really goes to the roots, really works well. And you're cleansed, like there's nothing in you that's going to negatively impact. Or so that's why there isn't really much of a preparation to do. That being said, it's all about respect. So always, I tell people, the cleaner you are, if you stop drinking before, and limit the kind of media you watch and things like that. Also, intentions are very, very important. So this medicine will work with your intention. So if you just come there with no intention, then it's going to be a waste of your time. It might clean you up, but you need to have clear intention. So why are you coming there? What do you need? And be clear. And a lot of people, they lie to themselves, there's things they need to change in their lives, but they're not even admitting it to themselves. So then they'll go back home and carry on doing the same bad patterns, be it taking drugs or whatever it is that they're doing. Maybe they don't want to admit to themselves that they're addicted, so they'll come, do the initiation, and then they go back home and keep on doing the drugs. But if you come and you say, no, I want to let go of this addiction, I don't want to be addicted anymore, I want to be off drugs, then Iboga will be okay. Let's work with you then.
We'll drive even more deep into the aspect of Iboga and Bwiti in the modern world and outside of the Bwiti tradition, because I see that's also a very hot topic about Bwiti and Iboga. Nature and the plants, especially Iboga, they really play a very important role in the initiation. What part do they play in the Bwiti tradition and in these initiation and ceremonies? The plants.
Did you say the nature?
Plant. Nature, plants, what role do they play in the ceremonies and initiation? Or is it only Iboga?
No. There's many plants. Iboga is just one of many plants. It's obviously the master plant, but we work with many, many plants. And the whole initiation is all about plants. So we do bath, and each plant that's used in those baths. So we'll wash ourselves with this, what we call musoso. And this is different plants from the forest. These are supposed to cleanse you, protect you, guide you. Each plant has got its own property. And even the way we eat Iboga, we don't eat Iboga pure. We mix it with some other plants, and they work together to give you a deeper experience. Something happens in your body that also takes you where you need to go. I mean, it's all about plant. This is all about pharmacopoeia. As a Bwiti healer, you should know your plants, that's very important to know your plants. So you have to go to the forest every day and pick your medicine. And a lot of the Bwiti is not about Iboga. We take Iboga in the ceremonies, but a lot of people come to get healed. Like, we have a traditional medicine clinic in our village where we can treat 12 people at once. So we have 12 beds in there, and it's all plants. You'll not see one medicine that comes from the West there. Even though we run it like a clinic, it's a traditional clinic. The beds are made of plants. There's plants planted everywhere. Each plant is a spirit that protects the clinic against like negative attacks and things like that. Every plant that is there is very strategically positioned to serve a purpose and a role. And throughout the initiation, it's all about drinking plants, and some plants will make you purge, so they pull things out of your body. And some plants, like I said, is pharmacopoeias, so it's like a pharmacy. It's a pharmacy, but it's a forest pharmacy. So some plants can maybe, if you're losing blood, you can drink this plant that will regenerate your blood. If you have some illness, there's a plant. So, and we know the forest very, very, very well, especially my aunt who's trained me. Unfortunately, I don't live in Gabon. I go there back as much as I can. So I rely on my aunt a lot because I haven't grown up there to know the plants, but she teaches me and sends me the plants that I need to do this work as well. But she's very knowledgeable, and she can hear the plant. When I ask her, how do you know, which plant does what? You just go to the forest. If there's any problem, you go to the forest, grab the plant, come and treat someone. She says the plants tell her, like her mentor trained her, but the plants also will tell her, So if she goes to the forest and she's not feeling well, maybe she'll just get her attention drawn to a plant and then she knows that's the plant that's gonna help her with a cough or whatever that she has. So yeah.
I saw a review on your Instagram of a guest who was talking about Iboga, and he said that Iboga is so intelligent, it's like ChatGPT 500. I thought that
Yeah.
was very interesting.
Yeah, it was very funny. Like we all laughed when he said that, but it's true in the sense that it's so intelligent. When you eat Iboga, the intelligence of it will teach you a lesson in a way that only you can understand it. So it will work with your own consciousness and your own life's experiences to put something in front of you that only you can understand, and that by showing you what it's showing you is the only thing that will make you change, that will make you better your life, So it's so intelligent. It's so clever. It's a high, the way I say it, like, even though we work in traditional way in the village and, we don't have electricity, running water, all of that, people may see us as primitive, but actually it's a super intelligent technology that nothing compares to,
And it's being adopted even in so many places outside and medically. So there must be really something.
Yeah, there's extracts, like every like the West always tries and how to put it, take something and package it in a pill
Package
format.
it, yes. Yes.
So yeah, it's being extracted. They're extracting different alkaloids from it, or just the main alkaloid ibogaine, and giving it to people who have severe drug addictions and things like that, because it's magical. But yeah, for us, we just use it as a plant straight from the ground,
And I read another review again on Iboga from a traveler who was initiated into Bwiti. And this is what he said. He said this is a plant like many others that must be treated with the utmost respect. The true motivation for a profound death rebirth experience is more in line with what you can expect from an initiation into Bwiti. You will have to ask yourself whether you are ready or not. So no one seems to say that this initiation is easy. What's so difficult about it?
Yeah, it's not easy. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an initiation, So it will challenge you. Oh, there's so much that is difficult, especially for a Westerner or someone who's not used to the village life in Africa. It's difficult because you're going from your comfort, and then you're gonna be just when you get in our village, for example, as soon as you come there and you check into the traditional medicine clinic, we take away all your belongings. We keep them locked somewhere. You don't have a phone and all your comfort. Like you don't have any of that. We just give you a like a wrap. Like just one. I can't remember how to say that in English. Pagne, just like a wrap. So the men will just wrap it around their waist, and the women just wrap it like that, and that's all you're wearing. You're not even changing the whole time. You're not showering or anything the whole time. You're getting prepared. You stay dirty. You only go to the river to bath at the end of the initiation, and so already the comfort is difficult. But then that's only one part. Then the plants that you're drinking and all, they're doing things to your body. So like some of them, they purging, so they'll make you throw up, pulling things out of you, that's toxins, but also spiritual attachments and things like that. So that also takes a toll on your body. and you're sleeping in, the beds we've got in the traditional medicine clinic, it's all plants. So even your mattress is made out of plants because these plants are protecting and they help you dream and things like this. So it's very uncomfortable. It's not a fancy retreat like where you're all comfortable and you've got luxury. So that's difficult. And then the Iboga experience itself, Iboga will make you purge. So you will be pulling things out of you, And we see purging is very important because things that are stuck in your body and your spirit, that blockages and things like this come out like purging, So a lot of people feel sick during the experience, and then you won't be sleeping for 3 days, for days. Sometimes you can be up because Iboga keeps you up. So you're so tired from being uncomfortable, but also then you can't sleep. And then that last ceremony, you have to leave the clinic when you're reborn, because this is all the death process that's going through all of this cleansing and all of that. That's you dying. And then after the Iboga, you're reborn. And that's when they wash you and you get washed and prepared. You have all the face Bwiti paint, new clothes, and then you go out to the temple and there's a big celebration with all the music and everyone is dancing and it's throughout the whole night, and you haven't slept now for so many days, and then you have to go in the temple and take part in the dancing, and there's so many things. Yeah, you have to take part in it, you can't. So yeah, you will be really, really tired, and you're just like, whoa, my body can't take this anymore. But yes, you can, So yeah, it's not easy, but it's a rite of passage, It's an initiation. It's not meant to be easy. But after that, you will be strong. When you go back to your life, you will feel so empowered and so strong, Because yeah, you have to die to be reborn, and it's not an
It's a
easy
rebirth.
process. It's a rebirth, yeah.
What are the risks of using?
So the risks, in Gabon, we say Iboga is very safe. If you do it in the right, it's very safe, except when you don't do it spiritually correctly, because what happens is when you're eating Iboga, you're connecting with the spirit world, and the spirit world is not all good. There's just as much good as there is negative things. So if you don't know how to protect, if you don't know, if you don't take the spirit world seriously and you don't know how to work with the spirits, then you can invite negative entities, and there's many of them, because in fact in Gabon, some people, they work with Iboga and with negative entities, because negative entities can help you also become rich, become famous, successful, but then you also have to then give something back to. So Iboga is neutral, it wants to help us, but it can be used also for negative reasons.
Quand tu travailles avec le bois, que tu es ganga ou nima, c'est là, en fait, tu travailles avec tes esprits. Et il y a des gens, ils n'ont pas de connexion avec leurs esprits, mais ils donnent quand même les bogas.
Ça, c'est mauvais, les mauvais gens. Il y a beaucoup de gens qui travaillent avec l'Iboga. Ils n'aiment même pas Nima. Ils n'aiment même pas l'esprit Nima. C'est ça, plein.
Plein, oui.
Plein. Il y a les gens qui achètent l'onima. Ici au Gabon, acheter l'onima. Il a l'argent, il part trouver l'onima. L'onima qui a soifé l'argent. Il prend l'argent, il lui donne. Et lui aussi, il va lui donner le travail. Alors qu'il n'a pas l'esprit de soigner les gens. Une personne qui est sorcière, quand tu lui donnes le travail de l'onima pour aller travailler, il va faire quoi? Il ne va rien faire. Il va faire des mauvaises choses aux gens. Il va gaspiller le bois. Après, les gens qui ne sont pas initiés vont dire que c'est mauvais. Oh, le bois est mauvais. Au lieu de dire que c'est la personne qui est mauvais, ils vont dire que c'est le bois qui est mauvais.
Voilà.
Right? So that's one of the risks. Outside of Gabon, there has been fatalities associated with ibogaine. Not Iboga root bark, with ibogaine. And ibogaine is the extract. So that's when there's many clinics now that offer ibogaine. So that's where it's chemically extracted and it becomes a powder, like a white powder, and it's done using some chemicals. I'm not sure of the exact process, but they just pull just the ibogaine, and ibogaine is very you have to dose it very carefully, and it can affect your heart. And there's been a few fatalities, not many, but there has been, and every time it has happened, there's been great media attention over it. So people are scared of it, But like a lot of people most of the people that go to ibogaine clinic are people that have been battling with drugs their whole life. So their body is already in a state of survival, So what ibogaine does is it reduces your tolerance to drugs. So if someone's been taking drugs for 20 years and their tolerance goes up, so they need a lot of, for example, if we're talking about heroin, they need a very high dose of heroin that would normally kill someone, but because their body is so used to taking it for so long. And then what ibogaine, it will reduce your tolerance level to before you were taking drugs. And then sometimes what happens is after ibogaine treatment, the person that's addicted will go and take some more drugs, or in between, because you still feel withdrawals, you still feel the uncomfort, So they might say, "Oh, I'm going to the toilet quickly," because they can't take it; it's too much, and then they go and take more of the drugs, and then they die of overdose because the ibogaine is reduced their tolerance. So that has happened in the past. So yeah, you have to be people who are going for ibogaine due to drug. Then what we always recommend is better they go to a clinic because they equipped to deal with that. Like we don't do that. Like we do traditional. So if someone has got a drug problem, we're not going to be testing them and monitoring them and searching them and things like that. We just do traditional. So yeah, that's one of the reasons that there's a lot of fear around it.
And outside of the healing and spiritual practice, is Iboga consumed only for recreative purposes?
No, not for recreation, definitely not. But we use it in small doses, like a microdose. Like in Gabon, like we'll put like the little sticks in like a drink, like a Coke or something like this, and then drink it, and it gives a bit of energy, and it's really good. To be honest, I've helped people get off some like pharmaceuticals that they were addicted to just from like very small doses of iboga, just taking every day a little bit. So you don't really feel it, but it's working on you, and then you can get insights, and it can really help you with depression and things like that as well, but just very small doses so you don't have full-on visions. And that is a really amazing way. Often some people, they don't even need to go and do the full dose, just the microdosing can really help them. And it's also really good before and after ceremonies to prepare yourself to kind of get used to the medicine before. So you do little microdosing. So when you have the bigger dose, it's not such a shock, It's like you already understand the medicine a little bit, how it works. And then after as well, to help you integrate the experience. So you can carry on eating just little amounts every day. And that can really help.
So I think, like you mentioned, yoga is just one of over 100 tools and medicines that are used in the Bwiti initiation. And I really want to draw more on the holistic concept beyond Iboga. But as I was doing this research, I got to learn that Gabon is to Africa what Tibet is to Asia. So it's considered a spiritual center of religious initiations, partly due to the sacred music of Bwiti. Beyond Iboga, how does music, I saw something like the Ngombi harp, Mongongo mouth bore, and the dance, how do they contribute to the Bwiti ceremonies?
Oh yeah, these are crucial elements. So these are our sacred instruments. So our sacred instrument in our village and our branch is the not the Mugongo, the Ngombi. So the Bwiti harp, and we see it as a very powerful spirit. So the harp is a spirit that we actually will worship. We give it a lot of respect. Like I told you earlier about us being an animist tradition, the Ngombi is a very strong, powerful, protective spirit. And during ceremony, we play the Ngombi, and that is your link to the spirit world. So that is your bridge. It opens the doors to the spirit world. So that's what takes you where you need to go. And also it protects the ceremony space, it protects the participants, and it can also work with the participants in the spirit. So yeah, the music is so important, and the Mugongo is the same as well. It's also another way to connect you to the spirit world. And if you listen, it makes sense during a ceremony because the music is very fast paced and it really shakes everything that's in your mind. It removes everything. Sometimes it's very difficult to listen for some people, that are not used to this music. They can be like, oh, make it stop. It's too much, because it's so fast and the noises just really go through like and eventually they have to surrender to it because they can't be fighting it anymore and they have to surrender to it, and that's where it takes them where they need to go. But the music it's also how we do our prayers, and the spirits love it. So the spirits also, they come during the ceremonies, and it's the connection to the spirit world.
And the community, what's the role of the community in Bwiti rituals and teachings?
I mean, for initiation, the community is everything. This is why there are some people offering initiations outside of Gabon, but I don't agree with this. I don't think anyone can initiate outside of Gabon because it takes the whole village to do an initiation. But people like to appropriate culture and just for money, but I don't believe you can initiate outside of Gabon. It takes the whole village. So we need all the instrument players. There's drum players. There's the Ngombi, Mugongo. There's all of the healers. We have 4 Nimas in our village. There's 4 Nimas, so 4 healers, not just my aunt. And each of them is working constantly. There's the dancers. So some people, so for example, when I got initiated, my first initiation, and I saw that my path is to be a Nima, so a Bwiti healer. That was my path, but someone else is gonna get initiated and their path is to be the Ngombi player, so the person that plays the harp, and then someone else is gonna get initiated and their path is to be a dancer. So in my family, we've got dancers, we've got harp player, instrument players. So everyone has got their roles, and everyone comes together in the community, and it takes the whole village. You can't do this just outside of Gabon.
And do you have a big community of Bwiti traditions in Gabon and neighboring countries? Are you majority or minority?
Not in neighboring country, just so our community is our village and the neighboring villages. So yeah, my village is my family's village, and then the way it is in Gabon, you'll have your village and then there's other villages nearby. So we connect, like all of during ceremonies, the neighboring villages will come. With Bwiti roots, for example, we help at the local school. There's one school that's like one village nearby, maybe a few kilometers down. So we help that school, even though it's not in our family village, but it's our kids go to that school. So we then support that school how we can. And and there's the whole region, like all the villages know each other, and there's family as well because they get married. People get married, so they move to the next village. So it's also kind of like the family as well.
So in this community and the villages, are there any symbols, distinctive symbols or colors or jewelry that when you meet someone on the road, you can identify that they are part of Bwiti?
No, not really. It's only during ceremonies, the colors that we wear. Otherwise, people just look normal. Yeah, they just look normal. But during the ceremonies, we'll wear white and red. And these are the colors of Fang, so it's always white and red.
But only during the initiation and the ceremony.
Yeah, during the ceremonies. Otherwise, every other day, people just wear normal clothes, whatever they need to go and work in the forest.
And I really want to delve into Bwiti in the modern world because concepts from Bwiti have been picked and people have run away with them. And I think it would be very enlightening for our viewers to learn and hear about this as well in the concept of Bwiti and in the world as it is. And so Iboga has gained worldwide attention. There are clinics in US, Canada, Mexico that are using, like you said, Ibogaine to treat substance addiction. At the same time, on social media, you see a lot of people who are doing self-medication using Ibogaine as an anti-addiction remedy. What are your views on using Iboga outside of Bwiti tradition?
I mean, like we do personally, we only know Bwiti, so I only know Bwiti. I just know Iboga goes with Bwiti. That's my personal view, but I can't judge. Try not and judge what other people are doing because I don't know what their relationship with their spirits are and with the plants. So it's difficult. It's difficult to say. One thing that I do not agree with, and I think is wrong, is when people try and appropriate Bwiti for commercial gains. So some people will practice or not even practice Bwiti, but will use Bwiti as a way to sell their offering, their ceremonies, even though that they don't even understand anything about Bwiti. So this happens a lot. They wear Bwiti like a costume because they see pictures of people putting face paint. They don't even know the meaning of this face paint. They don't even know the meaning of the colors. They don't even know the meaning of the music or anything. And then they will just mimic it to then sell it. And they sell it for a lot of money. Iboga ceremonies and retreats and clinics the prices are crazy, outside of Gabon. And it's like in Gabon, people are so poor. My family over there is so poor. We send as much money as we can, but this money is just being used for basic things, survival things, petrol to use in the generator, food, things like we try and do projects, but most of the money we raise is used to just for survival, for basic survival, Meanwhile, people are opening clinics and doing retreats and things like this in Mexico and all over, and they're charging these exorbitant prices, and nothing goes back to Gabon, And then also using the culture and tradition to sell their product, but there's no reciprocity at all, Well, I don't think this is right. That being said, there's people also doing ceremonies and retreats, and they keep reciprocity is very important to them, and that connection to the lineage is very important to them. So there's a distinction, some people try and do this right, but a lot of people don't. And there are people in Gabon as well that are offering provider training courses, selling it like it's some certified university course, which is nothing to do with Bwiti, in my opinion. You can't just pay your way into becoming a Bwiti healer, and then people spend $30,000 to go to Gabon and learn. Take a course and get a certified paper to say that they can now be Bwiti providers when they actually don't understand what they're doing at all. So there's a lot of that. It's quite sad, and it's hard to navigate for people who feel called to the medicine when there's a lot of charlatans around and people who just really don't care and don't understand the spirit world. And so, yeah, there's a lot of darkness.
There's a proper way to approach doing the ceremonies and the Bwiti tradition, and it's supposed to be part of the lineage, and you're supposed to take time to understand and to connect back to.
Yes, exactly. And it has to be done with respect, not just as a way to start a business, Yeah, like for us, for example, people ask us if we offer things like provider training and things like this. And we do. We have provider training, but for locals. So it's not even provider training. I don't like that word. We have trainees, trainee Nimas, people who come and learn from our aunt, and we fund that. And they stay with us in the village for a long time, many years, where they support the ceremonies and initiations, and then they learn. And then when they're ready, they can go and build their own temples. So that's how it should be. And there's no one is paying to learn. what they do is they come live in the village and they help, they help with the maintaining the village, they help with the ceremonies, they work hard during initiations and so on. And as a payback, they get, the training and they get that experience. And that's the way it should be, it shouldn't be you pay your university course and become a Bwiti accredited provider. I don't think this is right, but yeah,
it's happening.
It's happening. Yeah, it's happening. And there's a lot of people, there's even people now that are going to Gabon just once to get initiated and then start doing provider training outside of Gabon. So they go and get just one ceremony and then they now think that they can start training people outside of Gabon. This is
and apart from the Bwiti tradition.
Apart from the Bwiti tradition, they haven't been given permission to serve this medicine. They have no connection whatsoever to the lineage. So your connection to the lineage is your protection, So there's none of that. So they're completely pushing aside the spirit world. They're just doing this, looking at it as a medication or something like that, So for us, this is outrageous, because it's dangerous. If you making people connect to the spirit world, what can come out of there can be very dangerous, So there's things like this happening. A lot of cultural appropriation. And the worst thing is then nothing going back to Gabon. There's also people who are paying their way. So if they want to get a title, like becoming a Nima or Ganga, which is a Bwiti healer, they will just go to Gabon and give loads of money to some Nima. And then the Nima will be like, okay, fine, you're Nima as well now. And then they go to the West and then start calling themselves Nima and Ganga and things like that. But really, all they did is they gave money because Gabon is so poor. People will take money, even though they know this is not right. So yeah, it can be also a messy world to navigate.
There is definitely challenges here and there.
Oh, a lot of challenges, yeah, definitely.
You've talked about giving back and keeping that connection with the Bwiti tradition in Gabon. However, I may want to extend or and I've seen, I think there's been challenges again with the illegal poaching and export of Iboga, and because of that, many Gabonese practitioners, Bwiti practitioners, struggle to find Iboga. So when you talk about giving back and connecting, how can people like international interest in Iboga be balanced with protecting Gabon's spiritual traditions and natural resources?
Yeah, so there is some organizations that do non-profit work. So always supporting, like for example, us, and there is other organizations that are doing Iboga plantations. That is obviously, if no one can go there and do the work themselves, that is something to look into. Putting pressure on providers to have proper reciprocity policies and have evidence of what they're doing, because some people say that they give back and really they don't, so because it's very difficult to fact check these things because Gabon is so far away. It's not an English speaking country, and when they're saying they're helping this or that village, the village is so deep in the forest, you can't connect to that village and ask them, is it true that you're being helped, So there's a lot of people just saying things that are not true. But I think having proper reciprocity policies with transparency on what they're doing, where they're spending their money is a way. Like if those, if international investors wanna help, then that's what they should be doing. Ask for evidence and things like that.
What are the biggest misconceptions from outsiders about Bwiti and its way of life?
The biggest misconceptions?
Yes.
Well, like I said earlier, Bwiti is not a tribe, it's a spiritual practice and it's very, very diverse and vibrant. And Bwiti is the umbrella, but there's so much underneath it, there's so many different branches and it's so vibrant and diverse. What else would be?
It's not
Yeah, I
witchcraft.
mean, we
I
are
think
not
you also
primal.
mentioned
We're
that,
not.
but there are
It's not
people
a
who take it.
primal thing. A lot of people see what we're doing as just a primitive. They just want the Iboga. They don't see the value of Bwiti. They just want the Iboga because they see Iboga as separate from Bwiti. But no, Bwiti is very advanced, is very clever. And if we live in ways that seem primitive, it's a choice. It's not because we haven't evolved, it's a choice because that is the right way to live, to be unite with nature and understand nature. We don't need all of this. In fact, the way that we live in the West is not right. This is not how we should be living. This is what makes people sick. So that's one of the misconceptions. We are not primitive, and there's a lot you can learn from the way that we do things in Gabon, in the villages.
I find that's always the debate between progress and
Yeah.
nature, how to reconcile those two. It's always a. So
Yeah,
for those,
absolutely.
we are closing in. For those who are interested in Bwiti, what's the most respectful way to approach it?
Oh, go to Gabon. If someone is really interested in Bwiti, they should make the trip to Gabon and experience the real Bwiti and beware of the commercial. There are people offering it as a commercial thing, and try and be careful with that. Do your research, try and connect with people that are local, and do it the proper way. Go to Gabon. This nothing will equate going to Gabon.
Mm. And by the way, when we talk about setting up the plantations, so much demand. Are there regulations to growing Iboga in Gabon? Or
No,
can
if you have land,
anyone start on a big scale to plant?
yeah, if you have land, you can grow it. There's no regulations at all. It's only on export that there is regulations, but anyone can grow it. So
Okay. And the final question, are you working on anything currently that is exciting that our viewers can watch out for with Bwiti Roots?
sorry, you got cut off at the end. If you can say that again.
Is there anything that's upcoming with Bwiti Roots that our viewers can watch out for?
Yes, we always doing loads of, always trying to improve the village, plant more Iboga. Right now we're working on planting a lot of Iboga, a lot for the size of our organization, We've got a plantation we've been working on, and we also have some partnerships coming up where we're gonna have some exciting partners that are gonna help us scale up, basically, so grow a lot more Iboga. So these are some things that we're doing. We've got initiations coming up in December. Like I said, we only open our village four times a year. Each times we take only 4 people, so we don't take a lot of people. It's not open 20 like the whole year, so the next round is going to be in December. So if someone feels the call to come and get initiated, there's still a few spaces in December. They're filling up fast because we only do this a few times a year.
We are
And
only in March.
yeah, they get filled so quickly.
So we are planning that far ahead in December while we're in March.
Yeah, there's a waiting list. People go and sign up on the waiting list, and then when we release the date, we go to the people on the waiting
Okay.
list, and then they book straight away. And then we advertise it, and then if there's places left, then people, because we don't do it commercially. It's not like a factory like line of initiations. Our village is for Gabonese people first and foremost, and then we open it a few times a year for foreigners, and we want to keep it this way because we don't want greeds and things like this to affect like our way of life there.
Usually on the row when we're finishing, we usually ask our guests to bid farewell to the viewers in your local language. If you would do us the honor. I understand, I think in Gabon you speak French.
Yeah.
Which is okay. Which means?
It's greetings.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can say Basa.
Basse.
Okay. Thank you so much, Audrey. And we're
Welcome.
looking forward to everything you'll be doing with Bwiti Roots.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
It's been great. If you enjoyed today's episode and are passionate about African excellence and transformative leadership, then you are in for more. Be sure to check out this video here and our next episode where we dive deeper into African innovative solutions. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with someone that finds value in these stories. And finally, we want to hear from you. Comment below a guest that you would like us to feature or a subject that you are curious about. Your ideas fuel our mission, and your voices matter in shaping the conversations that we bring to life. Stay curious, stay inspired, and I'll catch you here next time on The Roar.